What is going on, y'all, and welcome to another day out with Thomas video. As you can see right now, I'm just getting ready. Got my backpack here with my tripods, and I'm gonna be riding the Missionary Ridge local like I usually do. And I'm pretty sure right now, as you can see, I'm watching from the virtual railfan's live webcam video camera from the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. And later on, I'm gonna go to TVRM and catch the Missionary Ridge local, like I said. But anyway, hopefully there's lots of stuff going on down there. And I hope 6:30 or either 4501 is running. I don't know which one, but you never know. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all watch and enjoy the video. They still got Mr. Contreras voicing Thomas. So they're the three Norfolk and Western coaches. He's got 832. And he's got, who else has he got? He's got a 907. .906, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's all. Alright, we're back. That's the TVRM. I just ran into 6:30. Just getting ready to leave the first train. Yeah. Thomas should be coming back here any minute. So there's lots of things that are going on around here. There's the G-scale trains that are running. Tag 80's right there with the little train. There's so much other things that are going on back there as well. Like there's the Magic Show, Imaginary Station, gift shop and all that.
yet. Let's roll!
I know.
Remember that one time the Silver Screen got right on my phone? Why you have that YouTube screen? Copying files. How much was it?
Closer. Alright, so this is the Missionary Ridge local at the Tennessee Railroad Museum, which is like a 65-minute train ride from Grand Junction, which is where we're departing from. So this is a 65-minute journey from the Missionary Ridge local, departing from Grand Junction, traveling from the pre-Civil War tunnel, across the border bridges with the historic turntable demonstration. During the 25-minute layover at East Chattanooga Depot, we'll be doing a tour of the TVRM's restoration shop. So, as you all know, the local stands for it refers to shorter trains that were once essential to small towns, providing frequent stops for mail deliveries, shipping local produce, and even transporting children to school. Imagine standing on the platform as the train arrives, feeling the ground rumble beneath your feet, and the conductor yells out board, and the excitement builds up as passengers take their seats. This was a common scene 100 years ago, and remains so today on the Missionary Ridge local. So right about now, we are part of Grand Junction, across the Chickamauga turn, the Chickamauga Creek, and yeah, pretty much that. So let's see, right now we're approaching the Chickamauga Creek. I think since this is the J. Elvin Thomas event, we are about to pull into McCarty siding, so we can let Thomas pass through. Right there, he's now just passing by. Alright, so as I was saying, so on our train today we have the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railroad number 857. This 52 seat lightweight coach was constructed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1947 by the Budd Company for the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railroad. It was used primarily in New York, Florida services such as trains and the Silver Medium, and the Havana Special, and the West Coast Champion until the 1970s when it was sold to Amtrak. Amtrak sold the 857 in 1984 to the Blue Water chapter of the National Railway Historical Society in St. Louis, Michigan. They operated the car for several years until transferring its ownership to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum in 2011. Up next on our train, we have Central Georgia number 661. This coach is a 56 lightweight coach that was built by the American Car Foundry in 1947 for the Central Georgia Railroad. The car was the second in class of cars produced on a Nancy Hayes special. In the passenger train run between Atlanta, Georgia and Savannah, Georgia, along with the coaches from 1966 and 1997. Also in the TVRM was 661 saw many years of service for the Central Georgia Railroad and its successful Southern Railroad before the ownership was transferred to the Tennessee Railroad Museum. Up next and last on our train, we have the open seated coach 1000. This car was built for the Southern Railway in 1925 by the Pullman Company for the Southern Railway. Under the original number 1653, it was built with adjustable windows and no air conditioning. However, the Southern Railway added the car in 1940s and adding air conditioning. Today, the car has been converted. Once we hit the Missionary Ridge, it's going to be very hot and smoky up in here. So it's going to get very foggy and stuffy up in here. That's why I have these safety goggles on. So ladies and gentlemen, Missionary Ridge Tunnel. about to cross our fourth and final bridge. Alright, we are now approaching the Missionary, or the East Chattanooga Depot, where you'll see lots of engines there. Yeah, pretty much that. Gentlemen, we are now approaching East Chattanooga Depot, where you'll see lots of engine parts. And you'll see the world famous 4501, which has been standing there for quite some time. Hopefully they'll get her back up and running. And there's also the 5000, which usually pulls the dinner on a diner. .4501's just sitting there. And there's 1829, 1824, and there's also code 1688. And along with Southern 6914, 610, and 710.
This turntable, built in 1916 by the American Bridge and Iron Company for the Central Georgia Railroad, measures in at 80 feet in length, weighs in at 80 tons, and is powered by a 25 horsepower motor. Now, what if I told you that this here turntable used to be powered by hand? This was a hand-powered turntable. It took 4 people to push it, 2 people on each end, pushing a pole that extended out on each side. But today, folks, turning our turntable, we have just one man and his finger. You see this here, folks? This is the magic finger. Jason's going to flip a switch, and we're going to spin right around. And thanks for streaming Jason in there today. Go ahead. Alright, let's face it one more time into our turntable demonstration. And let's talk about our locomotive here today. Today, folks, we have one of our two operating steam engines coming in at 121 years old. We have locomotive number 630, built in 1904 by the American Locomotive Company of Richmond, Virginia, for the Southern Railway. Locomotive number 630 is a 280, or a consolidation type steam locomotive. And the 280 I just talked about, this refers to how many wheels our locomotive has on its body. Up here in front, you have these two wheels. These two are called your pilot wheels, as obviously they're in the front of our locomotive. You then have your 8 wheels in the middle. These 8 are called the driving wheels. This is what drives our locomotive. And then back here, we have nothing. So once again, that is a 2, 8, and 0 type steam locomotive. She would operate for the Southern Railway until 1952 when she was retired. She was then sold to a short line railroad in the 1950s, retired again in 1967, and was then repurchased by the Southern Railway in 1968 for use on a steam program, basically for public funds and charity. She was retired from that service in 1978 and came to her new home here at TVRM, where she operated on such trains like these until being retired again in 1989. Now in 2001, restoration began to restore 630 back to operating condition. This particular restoration cost the museum $700,000 and took 10 years to do, finishing in March of 2011. At the time, this was the most extensive restoration on a steam locomotive in U.S. history, although I'm sure that has since been surpassed. And today, 630 remains one of our 2 operating steam engines at the museum, and she is authentic, still powered by coal and water. Now the rest of our train sits here on track number 1, but we're going to take our turntable and we are going to move it over to the track that is next door to track number 1, which just so happens to be called track number 2. Once we line up onto track number 2, 630 will head out and recouple to our train back on track number 1.
Whistle.
Alrighty, folks, this will conclude our turntable demonstration. Let's give our crews a big round of applause. And with that, this will conclude the turntable demonstration. At this time, we may head back to our train. We'll be departing at 11:55 a.m. Thank you.
Yeah. I looked up.
able to hold the camera steady. It's so much rattling in Thomas Strain. Yep. We're about to enter McCarty siding again. Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Jeez.
Alright everybody, this will wrap up day one of Day Out with Thomas. I hope you all have enjoyed me riding the Missionary Ridge local, watching Thomas coming in and out the station. And as always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on for new videos every day. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see y'all soon.